Greetings traveler, Challenger here. Welcome to my channel. Today I am playing Diablo 2 Resurrected as a Sorceress and going as a lightning and chain lightning variant this time. Since I am not playing that much with her, I am curious to see how well she fares in a playthrough with those, as I know that Blizzard is a way to go normally. God knows I need some break after that last charge paladin run, so let the challenge begin. Rules: playing as lightning sorceress, using charms and sockets. This is solo self-found run, no shared stash items used. Run ends with killing Baal on Hell. This is hardcore run, 1 life, no deaths. Nowadays there is a really popular variant of lightning sorceress, mainly Infinity Nova. Problem is that it is very gear dependent, as to run it efficiently you need Infinity Rune Ward, which is an extremely hard to get, as you need 2 bear runes to make it happen. Here I would like to focus on lightning, which shoots single lightning that damages everything in a straight line and is capable of doing massive amount of damage, but its damage range is also extreme. There is also chain lightning, which deals less damage, but it bounces from target to target, making it an excellent clearing tool. Also, there is a static field, but I feel it would be way too simple to use this one, so I will only take 1 point to get into the skills or synergies I need. Sorceress starts with a short staff that gives her 1 point into Firebolt. That does not seem like a lightning spell to me, so I forego using that. Time to bust out this bow staff and whack 'em all. My damage will come exclusively from my abilities. Gathering as much points as possible is vital. That said, Akara will be very happy once I will clear this place and will reward me with additional point and ability to reset my build. Speaking of abilities, first one that I can and need to take is Charge Bolt. It creates several electrical bolts that are randomly scattered in one direction, causing damage on contact. Similar to Necromancer ability Thief, it can also hit one enemy with multiple projectiles. I wonder what goes through Corpsefarer's mind when they encounter all those level 2 adventurers that needs to kill him. Something like, man, another day on the job.
This cave has been purged.
Did you know that Bloodraven is actually a rogue hero from Diablo 1? Fate wasn't really kind to her. I guess there isn't much joy in the world of Sanctuary, so let's release her from that mortal coil and get Basanti, a cold-centered archer. One thing I didn't mention is that with each level of Charge Bolt, there are more and more bolts cast to wreak havoc, so the spread is like a shotgun, quite competent at clearing wilds. Riddle me this, why they didn't kill you? Well, I don't care, since Griswold is nice enough to drop me a set quilted armor, Arctic Force, perfect for the beginning. So, funny thing, but I found a ring with 10% faster cast rate earlier in the run. Then I found this amulet and Akara gave me another ring. This is quite the start. I swear, do not force me to run down here again time after time, just to get those 2 runes I need. Oh, well, that was nice. I should complain more. Class specific items can be such a powerhouses. Just look at this thing, Ice Blast, Frost Nova and Telekinesis on one item, and usually those Sorcerer Globes give life too, which is massive for such a fragile class. Now level 12 and finally I can take Lightning, and it is already getting fun. It has additional damage due to synergy with Charge Bolt, and it is decimating everything with ease. If for some reason you are watching this and you don't know how broken is static field, here, let me show you. I took 1 point just to prove, well, the point. But just so you wouldn't say, but you said you'll not be using static field. Alright, I killed her a second time with just lightning. Now, are you happy? Huh? Now to get Mizan for the prayer aura, because even if my health pool is abysmal, it is still nice not to die, and maybe I can do an aura bot setup later. I literally stumbled upon Radaman's lair as I thought I am still in the sewers level 2, and then suddenly questlog pops up and there he is. But old pile of bones he is, there isn't much fight left in him. My god, this is so devastating. Just look at them, crushing one by one, overwhelmed by insane voltage. Similar to Bone Spear, lightning was tailor-made to get rid of the pests in this place. It is perfectly splitting everything in its path, and there is nowhere to run. Please, Farah, tell me you have it. Yes! Now come to me, my beauty, I missed you so much. I really hope that stealth will help me with mana issues even a little, as lightning is so mana hungry that it already costs almost 11 mana per cast at level 6. In a quest for Viper Amulet I found a unique amulet along the way. It turned out to be Nokozan Relic, a fire-centric piece with massive 50% fire resistance. With level 18 I could take Chain Lightning now, but that does seem unnecessary, as lightning is doing its job just fine, so instead I will take Teleport for additional mobility. Zap! Zap! Duriel wasn't much of a fight, although he is much more annoying when I don't have my tank taking all the damage. Once he is dead, I did teleport around the battlefield, casting lightning when possible, until the Great Bug is lying on the floor with his insides out. He dropped a set green light belt, which is Arctic Binding. Remember kids, 1 vitality for Sorceress is 2 life. Kind of bad, so never skip your Jade figurine quest. It is 2 level worths of health. Now I thought it would be a good time to take that 1 point into Chain Lightning. It does less damage, but it travels from one target to another, making clearing scattered monsters a bit easier. Mixing and matching those two skills works really well for the larger packs, as you can see here. In the depths of Flair's jungle looking for Kalim's brain, I found a unique Volge, which is Steel Goat. And yes, it's a nice weapon, but my Merc has an ethereal pike which is 3 times better. I am not using teleport that much at this point. It is not necessary and it costs also a lot. But the ability not to wander around this stupid place, it's just such a fuzzy feeling in my tummy. You can really tell that I don't really play this class, as every time I do, stuff is dying so quickly it is kind of unexpected and nothing can really stop me, but even though I can teleport, I am still running most of the times. It's just a force of habit. Alright, the mythical dolls on 3rd level of Durance. Mephisto was kind of funny. I got into the fight feeling pretty cocky, and he nearly killed me, so I warped back to town, revived my mercenary, drank some energy drinks, and went on to kill him like God intended. Healed the tank and spammed the lightning. Remember, do not use these videos as a build guides. These are just my stupid attempts of playing a game in a very arbitrary way, which should not be done, and best example of that is that I forgot to put a point into frozen armor. That could decrease my potential demise, but who needs that for hardcore, right? So now I have 2 points to spare, so let's take the frozen armor for additional defense and ability to freeze enemies, and warmth for mana regeneration boost. I don't have a single rune for spirit, which I will eventually create, but that full rune drop out of nowhere was a bit of unexpected. Hephaestus was hellbent on destroying me, and he only dropped aggro after I did teleport. He dropped a set amulet, Tancred's Weird. Then Hellforge dropped me a Ral rune. That cheeky bastard the Sace tried to ambush me, but you know what? 2 can play that game. I teleported to backline and enacted my judgment on that monster. Diablo was a bit funny. Initially he dealt a lot of damage to the point that I had to take my knockers on Relic to not to die hit to his fire attacks. Merc, however, was not that lucky. Most of the time it was just a duel between lightning throwing giants, but well, I came out on top. Apart from that full rune in the previous act, I did not have much luck in rune drops. That said, I need to get some proper base that I can use to either do Ancient's Pledge and later Rhyme Shield, so barbarians, get out of those pens. Speaking of upgrade to the shield, Set Tower Shield dropped in Ariad Plateau. That is of course Saigon's Guard, which sports +1 to all skills but requires staggering 75 strength. What a bunch of sneaky bastards. They were huddled in the alcove ready to ambush and kill me. As a sorceress, I am not really supposed to get hit, but when I do, I want to know I won't die instantly, so those additional resistances are a no-brainer to get, especially when Anya can give me something interesting, and interesting it is. Although Enchant does not interest me at all, the mana and massive amount of resistances are great. I really need to mention this, but those lightnings really look amazing in the Resurrected version. Extra crisp, and you can see all the detail, and their travel distance is a force to be reckoned with. You can clear the entire packs of monsters completely off screen, just to go in the end and finish their master. Last time I disrespected Ancients this bad in this difficulty was probably with Arctic Blast Druid, when I positioned 3 of them in a line and they just died. Here I had similar situation with Talik and Korlik, which left Madak just annoying me from afar later on. Just before minions I got to level 30, and as you may or may not know, Sorceress got mastery for each element at this level. Best one is a cold since it is reducing enemies' resistance, while fire and lightning are boosting damage of set elements. That said, 50% bonus to my spell damage? Yes, please! Even with my newfound power, Bale is just such a pain in the ass. That stupid mana burn is just the worst. It completely shuts me down, forcing into downtime, and don't even get me started on those tentacles or his clone. Boss fights are of course taking longer than they should because I am not using static field, but that's not much of an issue. With that monster dead, he dropped a unique Spatum, Lance of Yagai. Not much to talk about the setup, just enough points into strength to get what I need, rest is vitality. Skills, most are 1 points except lightning and its synergies, and item wise it's just a lot of stats, resistances, life and mana whenever possible, and of course stealth for faster run walk, cast rate and so on. It's a bit insane how many synergies this build has. I mean, lightning alone has 3 and there is lightning mastery down the line. It would be really good to put at least some point into mana shield to, well, not die since this is hardcore. Where I am supposed to get all those points? Well, I did come to this place just because I found it first and decided just to go with it. And you know what? I think it was fate, as I found this perfect 4 open socket longsword. My stash looks a bit poor, but that doesn't matter, as I got what I need to do lore helmet. Ord Soul. This got everything I need. +2 skills, additional mana, lightning resistance, damage reduction and mana after each kill. But the deal breaker is absolutely the light radius. Rune is the only thing that I am missing for my spirit. Oh well, here it is. Oh, but I used my only Ord for lore. Time to rectify this. In normal, I didn't really feel like farming Countess, since the runes needed for stealth dropped in the first run. Here, however, I will need to spend a moment to get what I need, for at least a couple of rune words. Apart from the runes, I also found this pretty bad Nagel ring. I had to make a pause between farming since I gathered enough runes to make Spirit. Tal Full Ord Am. Oh, that stinks. Lowest roll on faster cast rate, but it is Spirit nonetheless. Just a powerhouse. Shale Rune seems not to be dropping for me anytime soon, so I made my way further into the monastery to shut down the threat there. My merc cannot really withstand the power of Andariel, so most of the fight it was just me, teleporting from one end to another, casting lightning until she crumbled. Not much to talk about here. Another Redament kill and another point for the books. This is perfect. A Lam rune dropped for me in a dry hills. It will most likely be used for smoke later on. Now that I have teleport and ample supply of mana, traversal through a lot of these cramped spaces is a joy. No, I am overselling it. It is less painful. Still, I need to be mindful of my surroundings. There is a very reasonable chance that I will die instantly with a very bad move. I took 1 point into Energy Shield for additional survivability, and I might invest some more into that later and Telekinesis synergy, since damage is still great so far. Yoink! Bye! Tyrael was very much like Andariel. Teleport around until he drops dead. One great thing about lightning is its rain, so I can hit him also off screen, and for my trouble he dropped a unique point guard, Spine Ripper, tailor-made for Necromancer, especially Poison Dagger, and set light-plated boots, Vidala's Fetlock. Two birds with one stone, or rather two disgusting arachnids with one lightning. In Spider's Cave I got myself both Kalim's Eye and Jade figurine. This will get much more problematic in Hell, but currently already some monsters can be lightning immune, as you can see. So that's a job for my Spearman, and it will be almost exclusively at this point. Somehow lately I am really lucky with those short paths to the objectives. Just look at this. Zap and zoom and heart is mine. I know that you might be thinking that this run isn't much of a challenge, and well, it isn't as restrictive as some I have done in the past. But you also must know I sometimes need to do something more grounded, with the class where my ability to play is non-existent. Thank God for frozen armor and energy shield, otherwise those dolls in Nightmare are unbearable. Mephisto started pretty standard. I started blasting, he killed my merc. Nothing special. Then, when I came back, suddenly there is Wyant in the fight, and he's lightning enchanted, so little sidebar with him not to disrupt the rest of the fight. After that I just had enough potions to keep Mizan alive and pin the prime evil in the place, eventually cutting him down. So nice. Right off the bat I got the access to Plains of Despair, and nothing wakes you up in the morning like a salvo of lightning in the face from your favorite enemy in the game. Some of those fights in Diablo are just riveting. So of course Spirit can also be done in the shield, but unless you are playing Paladin you won't see that until Hell, and even then you will need to find at least Monarch to do so. That said, Hellforge dropped me a Shale rune, and it is a prime time to do a rhyme rune word. Shale F. This is an amazing defensive tool. Bonuses to block, mana regeneration, 25 to all resistance, cannot be frozen, and even extra gold and magic find. Sure, it does not provide all skills like Splendor or Spirit, but it is also a way easier to do and very powerful regardless. Now while I'm in town and this is already getting problematic at times, I got myself a wand with lower resist charges. This will allow me to deal better with lightning enchanted monsters and maybe even sometimes break their immunities. A bit unexpected and unfortunately not very useful to me, but Vizier dropped a pair of unique demon hide gloves, Venom Grip. Those are rather to be used by melee characters. I cleared the rest of the sanctuary to summon Diablo again, so now with lower resist, damage is even better. Not that he's immune or anything, but fight was so easy that I didn't really need my mercenary after he died, as I was just able to teleport, cast curse and fire away. He dropped a normal level item, a unique double axe blade bone. Just before Shank I found this very nice IO rune, which will be very useful once I complete this difficulty. And I think it would be nice to finally find some base for insight, but no, not happening. I just maxed the lightning mastery. It is insane how much damage lightning deals thus far, at such low level. Also, I realized that Sorceress is probably the only class that you can do a monothematic tree skills playthrough with not much issues. Wow. Out of the blue, 2 runes, Amnent Shale and also Flawless Topaz from the chest. This is a bit unusual, I don't think I have ever seen that, but Korlik and Talik both had stone skin modifiers, and were both immune to physical damage, so jabs from Mizan were tickling them. Still, not much more for my lightning, and Madak at this point was just a matter of time. Bale wasn't much, although he is still the most annoying boss for casters due to mana burn and appendages spawn. Fortunately, Chain Lightning deals enough damage to effectively deal with them without much need for targeting. Whole fight didn't last long, as damage is intense, and lower resist helped that even further. He dropped a lot of items, unique plate mail, bone flesh with chance for open wounds, and unique war sword, Covenant's Point with +2 all skills. Most importantly, however, set battle boots, which are Aldur's Advance, with 40% faster one walk, 52 life and massive 33% fire resistance. These are amazing and helps a ton with offsetting missing fire resistance from Spirit Shield. My setup by this point. I maxed out Lightning and Lightning Mastery and now I'm trying to finish Chain Lightning. As for items, my Mercenary is in dire need for some upgrades. And for me, I have all my main slots filled with rune wards, and other items are just pieces giving me resistances or life, like this amulet with massive 97 to life. Going to hell, especially at such low level, is not a great idea. But turns out, if you play Sorceress and do not really constrain yourself in terms of gear, it can be absolutely doable, without much issues, when normally it is rather impossible task in these hardcore runs. So now I am in a bit of a pickle, since next areas are brimming with lightning immune monsters that I cannot reasonably deal with, and my mercenary is weaker than wet paper. I decided to stay in a Bloodmoor and Den of Evil for a while to farm, as here I can get some elite bases that I desperately need. I am still to find a base for the weapon, but finally got Scarab Husk with 2 open sockets, and I got 3 open socket crown in the stash, so now a little upgrade. First, Smoke Armor, Neff and Lam, massive defense and resistance boost. Second, I will go with Cure Helmet, to shorten those curses and provide additional healing together with prayer. So now I got few other runes like File and another IO. Also this Rattle Cage armor, which has Crashing Blow, might be useful later on. But aside of that, I got a couple of bases, but all of them with 3 open sockets, so I get annoyed and freed Kane from Tristram to not waste any more time. I am not even looking for him and somehow he's always in my path. So energy shield is great, right? Yeah, it is. Only problem is that it does not absorb the damage caused by poison, thus making poison resistance important for this character. But even then, this whole fight is rather easy, and it doesn't take long to bring Andariel to the ground. She dropped me a set mesh belt, which is Talrasha's Fine Spun Cloth, part of Sorceress dedicated set. Teleporting blindly in this place is not a great idea. You can die in a flash if you find yourself in the middle of the pack. Also, beetles that are here are immune to my damage, and there is no way Mizan will deal with them in a rapid manner. So I guess I'm just rolling a dice here. Whoa, 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 whoa. In most unbelievable twist of fate, one of the elite monsters dropped a unique spiderweb sash, which is of course Arachnid Mesh, the best caster belt in the game. Wow! There seems not to be any immunities in Claw Viper temples, so teleport isn't really necessary. You can just jolt everything to death. How great it is to go into Arcane Sanctuary and do not fear absolutely anything in here. Chain Lightning works wonders here, and it seems like it is a great place to farm for this character. So I was wondering why Andariel was taking such low damage, and it turns out I simply forgot about lower resist. I did not make the same mistake for Duriel. I also tried to teleport around to keep my Merc alive, but it was a futile effort. In the end I jumped from the one corner to another, cursing him and casting lightning until he was dead. He dropped a unique backdeck Corbin, which is Householder Evo. I guess I'll take it since I still don't have a base for insight. With level 71 I have 300 vitality and my health is not looking bad. With items like Spirit, this magic amulet and Aldor's Boots responsible for at least a third of that. It feels really good not to complain for once this time. But I won't say no to another Jade figurine before grabbing Kalim's eye. Going through Flayer's dungeon, I only now realize that I forgot to visit Radament in previous act, so I am missing one skill point. But damage is enormous, and those dolls are really not much for us. I could not really clear the room with the chest inside, so I just yoinked what was inside, and in a very nice manner I got another Lamrung along with Kalim's brain. Council in Hell was probably the first real roadblock in the entire run. Until this point there wasn't a situation that I could not deal with, but with them, half of the monsters are lightning immune, and I need to kill at least one elite to get the flail. After much poking and running around, eliminating one member at a time, I found Torque, who was susceptible to my damage, burst him down and got my flail. Without bothering more of them, I just went down to Durance. Mephisto now, and he's a bit of a step up in difficulty level. He deals massive damage to the point that several times I had to teleport and huddle in the corner just to heal both of us, before resurging and hitting him again. That said, damage wise this is still not a problem. His health is going down so fast and he's dead soon after. He dropped a couple of normal level items. Howltusk Great Helm, Hasarus Boots, and Cleglaus Gloves. Nothing special. Now before going further, I went back to Lower Kurast to repair my budget a bit and hopefully find some stuff. Since I have portal right near the bonfire huts, first drop I got was the 7% magic find small charm. Finally, I found also a superior monarch. This can be made into 4 open sockets with Larzuk quest. So I went back to normal to socket my monarch and did another spirit. Another mediocre roll, but that does not matter, it is still amazing regardless and a great power spike. To wield it I had to reset my stats and ended up almost at the same amount of vitality as before. This looks great. Now I got tired of looking for that inside base, I could not get anything, so I decided to craft 4 caster amulets and sadly didn't get anything useful. But I actually gambled a rare amulet that was giving me 1 to Sorceress skills, some energy and double resistances. I found Isuel by complete accident. I wasn't even looking for the guy. And the disrespect is real. Some of the normal level monsters here took longer to kill than this guy. Now I was really trying to get base for insight and elite base for another smoke, but I could not find either. I had this free open socket Great Hauberk, and because I have all the rules I created a Lionheart. Hell, Loom, Fall. It's got a bit of every stat, 30 to all resistances, 50 flat life and even 20% enhanced damage. This is of course only applies to the weapon damage, but still, it's nice. I am really prolonging this run by this point. I could easily be done with it probably like 3 levels ago, but I wanted to wear that arachnid mesh that I found, but still I am not sure I have enough patience to stretch this even longer. So there was a lot of struggle dealing with Stormcasters, as they are impervious to my damage, but their immunity can be broken with lower resist, and slowly I can help my mercenary to bring them down. But the biggest roadblock was actually Infector, and he was also immune and I couldn't aid my Mizan in this quest. He was on his own this time. As you can probably imagine by now, Diablo was the easiest part of this place. Damage is disgusting. I feel dirty playing this class. There is nothing that can stop me, not even the Lord of Terror himself or his pathetic brothers. No, I don't think that level 80 is going to happen in this run. Sure, I could farm just to get the belt, but it really feels unnecessary, and I feel I can already finish the run as is. So I skimmed through the levels, teleporting around until I got to the summit. Here my first attempt was futile, since Korlik and Talik killed my merc and in return I killed them, but Madak is lightning immune and thus even breaking it with lower resist makes him take so little damage that it's not possible. Next and final attempt wasn't the cleanest, but hey, it worked. First I had to check if Madak is killable. When I confirmed it, I quickly dealt with Korlik, then went back to Madak for additional session. But that idiot had teleportation modifier, and in his final moments, he was using it like the absolute madman. When it came to Talik, I had no potions left, but health regeneration from my merc and my innate mana regen allowed me to run away and recuperate before striking again and again, eventually ending his life. Aside from the council, this Bale fight was probably the worst thing in this whole playthrough, and major thing why is that the lack of meditation aura provided by Insight. That said, damage wise this is still not a problem. It took me about 8 minutes to finish this entire endeavor and at least 3 trips to town to restock on potions, as Bale loves to burn my mana and kill my merc. By the end I didn't even try to bring Mizan back, because for one he could not live for long and I was broke beyond belief and simply could not afford him. As you can see, Lord of Destruction fell nonetheless, completing this run. My setup by the end. I was still a bit under-leveled and put just enough strength to get Monarch and the rest is Vitality. Skill-wise, I am getting every synergy for Lightning and Chain Lightning and 1 point into Frozen Armor and Warmth. Gear-wise, these are mostly resistances, strength and life pieces. And of course rune words like Double Spirits and lore for additional skill levels to boost up my damage. Aside from that, survivability was the main concern. What can I say? This wasn't really that hard. I got really lucky with some drops, although I am still bummed that I couldn't get that insight, which by the end kind of hindered my ability to cast spells or keep up the energy shield. That said, this build is such a joy to play, even in its unoptimized state. Damage that Lightning and Chain Lightning does, especially together with lower resist, is something that cannot be understated. Also, in normal circumstances you really want to use Static Field, as it cuts down boss farming by considerable amount and it is extremely overpowered. I really need something easier and fun to play after that Charge Paladin run, and this was a great palette cleanser, although a bit too easy for my liking. Give it a try if you haven't yet, it's great fun. Thank you very much for watching, stay tuned for more games and gaming challenges. Like it if you like it and subscribe for more. Challenger departs.